Now, I mean, you've been in the space for a while in crypto journalism. If I'm correct, you started closer on the like gig economy for crypto.
Yeah, so my first entrance into crypto was something called Crypto. We did basically Fiverr for crypto. We had 64 currencies. Users can transact with no fees. Um, we worked on that for about 9 months before actually going live and realizing we were way too early to the market. So that kind of was put on the back burner. But during that process, I was doing as the non-tech guy at Crypto. I was doing all the marketing and PR and stuff like that. And I kind of saw a huge opportunity to sort of make the process a lot easier, because to get like a press release published is so expensive, and it's a pain in the butt, and the value that it provides was not what it was costing. So I kind of, I guess, created a backdoor.
So you discovered in trying to market crypto that these press releases are ridiculous, and I agree with you. I mean, I think the cheapest one you can even get today is probably like what, $300, $500.
Well, you can get cheaper. I mean, I know you can get cheaper because that's what Coinbound does. It's a marketplace for press releases, sponsored articles, and influencers and things like that. But yeah, in general, the value that it provides, again, was not what I felt like it was worth as a marketer. And there was kind of a disconnect, I think, between brands that are trying to market and the actual publishers, what they think they're providing versus what they're actually providing. So I kind of put myself in the middle there and was trying to solve some of those inefficiencies.
Now, when you were doing crypto, what you mentioned that you were too early.
Yeah.
What I mean, why is that? What was it that was too early? Was it that people weren't ready to pay a gig economy in crypto? There weren't enough people receiving crypto.
I just think we haven't hit a level of adoption yet that a marketplace that sort of operates in that kind of way was going to be profitable anytime soon.
So it was
I would
both.
argue we're still.
It was
What's
both
that?
the buyers. It was both the buyers and the sellers weren't there.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting a lot of interest, but it wasn't enough for us to really keep it going. And I kind of got passionate about Coinscribble and sort of went that direction. And then my co-founders also got passionate about other things, so they did that. I mean, it all worked out well. Obviously, things are going well with Coinscribble and Coinbound, but yeah, I would still agree that we're too early for a gig economy to really work. I mean, some companies are out there that are doing it. Bounty OX is doing it, and they've been doing it for a long time. I don't know if you're familiar with them,
I
but
am. They're good for. I mean, they were really popular during the airdrop days, right?
yeah, yeah, they're still around. But I haven't been following their progress really enough to know how well they're doing. I suspect that they're having an issue with getting users because we're just too early still.
Yeah, and also, I think the bounty culture might not come back. It was very connected
Yeah.
to those early days, those ICO days. You know, a lot of founders I talk to, it's like, okay, so why are you doing a token? Oh well, we
Yeah.
need to get work for free.
Yeah.
And that's what a bounty is at the end of the day. Now, don't get me wrong. I think bug bounties are
Mhm.
fantastic, right? Because there you're getting real value as far as like the contribution. You know, some of these other bounties were purely, hey, retweet, like, and we'll give you, 50 coins that have,
Yeah. Well, I think the community got pretty wise to that fast, and maybe not the. I think the bad actors sort of made a whole business out of it, just creating a ton of Twitter accounts and stuff like that, and it just again. It kind of created a whole business that wasn't really providing value to the company that was sponsoring the bounties.
yeah, I mean, maybe it helped in distribution in some
Yeah.
cases.
But you can airdrop still. There's nothing stopping that.
Right. And I think, I mean, I'd like to get your opinion on this. I think bounties, we're going to probably not see many bounties other than maybe bug bounties.
Mhm.
But I do think that we're going to continue to see airdrops as a form of distribution. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's free. It's easy. Are you familiar with Bomb Token?
I've heard the name, but
Okay, they ran a really good. So Zach Dash is the founder of Bomb Token, and he is, we talk all the time. He's probably one of the best growth hackers in the crypto space, and they ran a really successful airdrop, and that's definitely a good example of how it still works, because he has a super passionate community now that he created basically out of nothing, just with a cool idea and a token. And he didn't ask for anything from anyone. He just kind of said, this is what we're about. This is what we're doing. If you want to be part of this, here, we'll give you some tokens for free. And I haven't checked the market cap in a while, but last I checked, it was, I think, 12 million plus.
Not bad. So
yeah.
What was it about their airdrop that you think made it successful?
I think it was a cool idea. So they're doing a deflationary currency. Basically, every time that a transaction is processed, it eliminates, I think it's 1% of the transaction. So he kind of positioned it not as like, oh, this is going to change the world or anything. He said, this is an experiment that we're trying. It's the first truly deflationary currency, I guess, that's being positioned that way. And people were intrigued. Again, when you do an airdrop, it's not, there's no investment. It's just like, hey, this is my Ethereum address, and send me some tokens. I'm interested in following. And I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, got really intrigued by that idea, and because of that he has a super passionate community now. So,
because again, I like to always unwrap the core of why something succeeded.
Yeah.
And it seems that the measure of success here is the fact that at the end of it, he has a very passionate community, you're saying.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely part of his success, a part of how I would judge his success.
Right. So
I think his Telegram group is, I don't know, 4,000, which is nowadays. I mean, maybe in late 2017, that wasn't a huge accomplishment, but right now it's hard to get people excited.
Yeah, 100,000 people in 3 days, Now,
yeah.
How many of them are real, or, living in a country with an economy that can actually spend money? Yeah.
Yeah.
So was there something about the announcement? Was there something about the structure of the airdrop? Or was it just like basically, hey, all you have to do is come into our Telegram, and on this date, you're going to get coins?
So he did a lot of stuff. And honestly, I don't know everything that he did. Again, he's one of the most savvy crypto marketers that I know. And I do crypto marketing. He did a lot of just kind of boots on the ground, grassroots, guest posts on publications, posting on Hacker Noon. He's one of those guys that's really good at he knows the ways of getting things on the front page of our cryptocurrency and things like that on Reddit. And yeah, people, marketing a bad idea will never work, really. It has to be something that attracts people, and he's a really good marketer with a product that's really intriguing, and I think that's why it worked.
Okay, so it was basically, you need to have something that you believe in or that is interesting to people, and you need to put yourself out there. You need to know how to market it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like some sort of like gimmick on the airdrop, like.
No, it was nothing really like revolutionary in terms of how the tokens were distributed. It was just a really interesting idea. I think again, he positioned it as an experiment, and that gets people curious. So
before you got into crypto marketing, you were in SEO, right?
Well, yeah, that's part of marketing. I've been in marketing before I was in crypto.
Yeah. What, was there a particular industry?
No, it was just in general.
Do you think that there's something that is different, is unique about crypto marketing versus, the general marketing space?
Yeah, well, the way crypto companies spend their money is definitely different, because for a normal brand, it's just really easy to say, oh, I'm going to run a bunch of Facebook ads or Twitter ads or LinkedIn ads, whatever it is. And that's going to work. And it does work for other companies, but in crypto, you can't really do that.
Because of restrictions, right?
Because of restrictions, yeah. And also, so I push SEO particularly hard for crypto because it's not really at the mercy of, Google's sort of they're banning, I guess. That you can't really advertise crypto companies still, but SEO is still, as long as you produce relevant content, it works, and it's a really cost-effective way of getting people onto your site. So that's something we spend a lot of time doing, and a lot of my time is spent educating our clients on that. Because once you know how to do it, it's super cost-effective. It's just creating content really that's relevant, and then knowing what the right content is to create based on keyword research and stuff like that.
So the main recommendation you would give to a crypto project is really focus on the content marketing, right?
Yeah.
Organically, that helps everything else you're doing, which SEO you see as the most cost effective.
Yeah, I do over the long term. So on average, to see the real benefits of SEO takes 3 to 5 months is what we found. But again, you can over 3 to 5 months, you can spend thousands and thousands on ads on Google, but you can also just spend a couple $100 hiring a good writer to create content that's targeting effective keywords, and that will last forever. When you do SEO, you own it. It's on your site. You own the content forever, and you can constantly update it to.
Yeah, it's not a wasted cost like a
Yeah.
banner ad on CoinMarketCap, for example.
Yeah, that's limited. That's time limited. After whatever the period is, number of impressions that you've hit, it's done. But with SEO, you own it forever, which is great.
Okay, so one of the main things is, hey, what works in traditional marketing like Facebook ads, not going to work here, primarily because of the restrictions.
Yeah, and the audience is also very different. In other industries, there's no investment component to what you're pushing. Not that every product in crypto there is. I mean, we work with a lot of companies that there's no investment component at all. But still, just the audience in general in crypto is very jaded because of what went on in the past couple of years, and understandably so. So you kind of have to, I guess, be aware of that when you're pushing your product or your brand. That's just another thing to keep in mind.
And as being part of that jaded, does that change like the medium? Do you find that more crypto people are on different channels? Like, I've never thought about Facebook as being important to my crypto marketing strategy. Like,
I would agree with you on that. We do a lot of social media stuff. That's the basis of Coinbound is influencer marketing. We work mostly with influencers on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram are the biggest.
Right.
We do almost nothing on Facebook because it just doesn't. I don't know. How frequently do you check Facebook?
Not often, and definitely not for any of my crypto news.
Yeah, me neither. Exactly, and I'm sure we're not all that different from everyone else in the crypto space. It's just I don't know. People aren't using Facebook like they once were. And
usually, people are usually are trying to push traffic either to the website or to the Telegram channel, right?
It really depends on what the KPI of the customer is, what the key performance indicator is. Okay. So for some companies, it depends on the campaign. So some people, we work with a lot of exchanges. They want people onboarded as fast as possible. We work with a lot of mobile apps. They are measuring success by the cost per install. So for companies that are looking for CPI, is cost per install. It's basically what you're paying to get someone to download your app. We always push them in the direction of Instagram stories because they have to swipe up. As long as the account has over 10,000 followers, you get access to put a swipe up link in the story. So it's super easy. And Instagram's owned by Facebook, but people use Instagram way more than they do Facebook. So we find a lot of really good results on Instagram stories for that kind of client.
Now, on the exchange side, that's interesting. What's so the cost per action there? Is the action they're asking for an actual deposit or just a KYC fill?
It depends. So you actually did a video recently on OKX's 1,000 BTC giveaway that they're doing, right? Yeah,
and I'm so disappointed by the response so far, man. Like, has it even reached the BTC, like 1 BTC yet?
No, it hasn't yet. It has not yet. But the issue there, I think, and we're managing a lot of this campaign for them on the influencer side. They're going through a bunch of different channels, but for the influencer stuff, it's us, and it's coming in a bunch of different tranches, and only the first of a couple have fired already. I think they're trying to get too many people through the entire process of awareness and then onboarding and then depositing all in one. And that's a little much. So again, some exchanges, they want, people to deposit money. They want people to go through KYC. Some people want to get more granular. They just want general awareness, because I don't know if you're familiar with the rule of 7. It's like a common thing in marketing, which is basically just a customer needs to see a message 7 times before they're ready to act on it. So, it requires constant showing of the same message before you're really ready to get them through the door. You can still try it, but you're not going to be as successful as if you kind of primed the campaign.
So, I mean, I agree on the fact that they're asking for a lot, right? Because, okay, KYC.
Well, KYC in general, people aren't super happy about.
Yeah, but I mean, that's part of it being in an exchange. If you're going to have a deposit, you need to have the KYC.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, I remember the steps were being, KYC, then a deposit, and then also a crypto purchase. So you had to have both a deposit and crypto holdings. So it was total value of $200.
Yeah.
Before you could be eligible for the vote.
Well, it's $100 deposit in US dollars and then $100 purchase of crypto. So I think it's just $100 that you just have to buy.
Oh, so that same deposit can be used for the purchase. Yeah. Now, last I checked, there was let's say 20 people who had gone through it. There have to be at least 20 OKX customers that qualify for the vote already.
Yeah, well, if you're already on the platform, you do qualify. You don't have to go through KYC twice, obviously.
So that's why I just can't, why not just throw a bone to the BTC developer or the Bitcoin developers?
Wait, as opposed to the BSD and
customer. Just vote. If you're already on the exchange.
Yeah, of course. People definitely should be voting.
That's what I can't understand is that this is
again, this is the very start of their marketing push. They're doing a whole lot behind this campaign. It's 1,000 BTC. It's over $10 million.
Yeah, if that many people vote, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's where they'll cap it.
Which it doesn't seem that it's even going to get remotely close to 1,000 right now at this rate.
I mean, we're talking about it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm happy we're talking about it. Dude, I'll push this all day, every day, because $10 million to the development, that's great for everyone. And I've seen influencers push it, and I've seen people push it that have nothing to do or haven't been paid for it. I found out about it because Jameson Lopp had shared it.
Yeah,
Not one of the guys benefiting. I just don't get why it's at 20 votes when an existing customer can vote. I'm trying to get into the mindset of not participating.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something obviously that we're tasked with building through the influencer stuff, and they're doing a lot of PR stuff behind it as well. And this is a multi-week, I think it's over 2 months, I believe, campaign. So I think just hitting the beginning. So I'm curious where it's going to pop up.
Doesn't it end of September?
Is it end of September? I gotta reread the brief.
I think so, man.
Yeah.
Now on the influencer side, I first got into the crypto space about a year ago, a bit more than a year ago. Not as an investor, as somebody who's actively, getting paid in crypto. And, as an investor, I got in much earlier. But I was working with one client who had huge budget and just wanted to make sure the money was spent, right? Okay. And we had employed, it was one of these big influencer networks.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who they were, but they had a red logo and they had a lot of YouTubers.
In crypto specifically?
In crypto specifically. This is wild. Okay. And I remember we gave $25K and we got four or five YouTube.
All right. Well, yeah, you're not working with the right people then.
No, this was hey, you need to spend this money. I was super green, right? Yeah. So, found somebody who had just been listed on Forbes, being whatever, big guns growing, and they were doing well, and we took their smallest package, and every YouTube review from these influencers was them reading the website live.
Okay.
That's it. That was it. They basically would read the website.
What size were the influencers?
Excuse me?
What size were the influencers?
Some of them,
Subscribers?
I mean, I think the most somebody had was like 50,000 subscribers, which is, I think
Okay.
that's pretty big, you
Yeah,
know?
it's still in the category of micro influencer. 70K is the cutoff, but for crypto, 70K is the cutoff in general traditional influencer like marketing, but in crypto it's a little lower because the market's smaller.
I mean, plus the time frame is a little different. You could,
Yeah,
if you had 70,000 subscribers and you had started in 2016
yeah,
versus you have 70,000 and you started in 2019, you know, I think that speaks volumes, because some of these guys I see today have like 100,000 subscribers, and you know, their videos get like 5 views.
yeah.
But that was my experience. Um, eh, do you see that there are some influencers who provide, you know, no value, and then there are others who provide like, is there outsized value for your dollar in influencers?
Yeah, so engagement rate is definitely a much more important metric than subscribers. We always, we kind of are able to tell how advanced of a marketer our clients are on their own when they ask, based on what metrics they ask for. So when someone says, all right, well, I want to do a Twitter campaign, how many followers does this person have? It's a very not important metric, followers, because followers are easily bought, and there's programs and bots that are programmed to grow that, and it doesn't necessarily grow it with the right organic traffic that you want. Sorry, what was the original question? What was the
Well,
original?
you know, I don't know if I even had framed it as a question. Right now,
Okay.
I'm exploring the influencer, the area. You know,
Yeah.
that was the issue I had at the time, and I find that there are some people who, you know, are basically doing such a low value, low
Oh,
effort.
yeah. So, I mean, part of the main reason that Coinbound has been so successful is that there's a big disparity between what the sponsor wants and what the sponsor is looking for as a growth or success metric, and what the influencer actually thinks they want. Sometimes people on Twitter, they think like, oh, well, I have 200,000 followers on Twitter. I'm just going to tweet something that's unrelated to the brand. I'm going to tag them, and because that's getting 50,000 impressions, that's valuable to them. It doesn't work like that. So something that we do is kind of work with both sides to make sure both of them are getting what they want out of the deal. And it's not because the influencer doesn't want to provide it. It's just because they've never been on the buying side of influencer marketing, so they don't understand.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of these people are green in this space too, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, influencer marketing in general it's certainly not new, and it's certainly not exclusive to crypto, but it's fairly new in the crypto industry. At least in the way that it's done now. I mean, back in the day, there was Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled promoting stuff, and that did not go well at all. Which is kind of a lot of the stuff we have to deal with now, because disclosure is very important, as it should be, in my opinion. People have a right to know when they're reading an ad, and they were not disclosing properly, and they were promoting products that they had no idea what they were. I mean, I want to get framed the tweet that Floyd Mayweather put out. I don't remember what the product was, but it was like, I can't wait to spend my Ethereums or something. It was just completely. It was very obvious he didn't know what he was talking about.
yeah, I mean, and I feel that things have evolved now, right? We're at a place where disclosure is almost expected. It's part of the parcel now.
Yeah, the FCC is cracking down on it. Not for micro influencers, but for the larger ones.
Now, who do you think's doing it well in the space as far as influencers to keep an eye on? Who are the up and coming guys that you think deserve a bit more of a shout out? That way we can tag them as well when we post this.
Sure. I mean, one person we work really closely with, for a reason, is Bitboy. He puts out really awesome and great, like, it's informative and it's entertaining. So we definitely are very bullish on Bitboy. Crypto's News, Omar, is also super, super informed and knows what he's talking about and puts out really good content. IvanOnTech, everyone really, I think, knows, but I still think he's underrated, if that's possible, even though he's one of the biggest right now. Yeah, on YouTube, that's who I would put up there.
Yeah. Now, there was a point in time where you had the actual dollar amount
Yeah.
for the influencers, and since you've removed it,
No, we still have many, but not all of them.
what I would assume that there was some sort of pushback, or I mean, was it a business strategy? What was the decision making to change that? Because
Yeah.
I was getting, when I was sharing the business model with people, a lot of people were shocked to see the price attributed to some of these people.
Yeah.
That, in some cases it's like, wow, this guy's that cheap. And it would almost, change the way that you like, all of a sudden you could see in their face that their impression had changed. Was that part of the thinking, or was it completely different?
It was a couple things. Not everyone. So before we onboard everyone, we asked them what their level of comfort is with having pricing disclosed and things like that. So the ones that are comfortable with it, we listed. Having pricing listed definitely increases sales because people know what they're getting for. They don't have to, inquire for pricing.
Haggling, no quoting. Yeah, just click.
Yeah, but for a lot of them, I mean, I get it. They don't want a pricing because, again, some people were getting confused, and there was some flack on Twitter about like, oh, well, I just have to pay, X number of dollars, and then this guy will, make a YouTube review about me. It never worked that way. It just wasn't obvious that it never didn't work that way. Because before any of our influencers, any of Coinbound's influencers get, hey, this person wants to do a review, we vet them. We go through every project that we work with. And obviously we're not a due diligence company. We can't do it perfectly, but we've been in the industry for a long time. So we think we have a pretty accurate smell test of what's legit and what's not. So we go through all that. And that was kind of, again, not super clear, which is why we removed that. And again, people's pricing is not always the same. It's dependent on the project. It's dependent on how aligned the brand is with what the account is about. There's a couple things like that.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a fair point that, people have this expectation that just because you can see the marketplace, you can buy it, that anything can be shilled.
That's not it. Yeah. Again, that was a common misconception, and it couldn't have been farther from that.
Yeah, it's not like you can just buy someone and then they're gonna sacrifice their entire reputation to.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that makes sense once you question it.
Yeah.
And I think it was an unfair response from people. I didn't see the tweets, but I can be pretty sure that's.
Yeah, I mean, you know how Twitter gets. It gets a little brutal, a little personal when it doesn't need to be, but
on the marketing factors for these crypto projects.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think matters the most outside of things like, like the technology? For a lot of people, it's very hard to evaluate. Like I've interviewed some people who make these huge claims about what their technology does. I'm not in the position to evaluate it. I don't know if you are. It's like, I'm not going to sit there and look at the GitHub, then do my own, node install. And like, I can't validate your claims. And if you're not one of the big projects, no one that matters is going to validate your claims either, right? So, I don't incorporate that. But what do you think are the factors that a new project should focus on outside of the tech that can help them, kind of grow their user base, grow their name, and start to reach those milestones?
I would focus, and this is really for every crypto brand in general, I think should focus more on how it actually benefits sort of the non-crypto intense person, the person that's not necessarily interested in the blockchain features of it, but that provides some value to the community.
A use case for the non-crypto. But a lot of these projects are crypto specific, right?
Okay.
Like, so I've spoken with Bloxroot, which, all they do is, they're increasing bandwidth. They're focused on the network layer. I just talked to Cartesi, which is a Linux infrastructure for decentralized apps. None of this is going to matter to a non-crypto crowd.
Well, they have to identify the right audience, I think, and pitch it that way.
Yeah. And then, is that again focusing on content marketing?
It's content marketing, but it's very specific to the audience. Like something like that, there's a very small group of people in the world that will really see the value in that. And I think you're probably better off going after that very small group of people instead of everyone else who's never going to get it, no matter how much money you throw at it.
Right.
If they get it and they understand it, they're not going to have a use for it.
And that would that be again like going towards an influencer, or
if there's an influencer that's like highly concentrated in that area? Again, it depends on what the customer is really about, what the brand is about. But yeah, an influencer would be a good one if there's someone who's very specific to that topic, that niche of the industry.
Okay. What do you think the value of a name is? So what do I mean by this? Ryblocks rebranded themselves as Nano.
Correct.
I have a very strong Ethereum Classic community, and one of the things that's been floated is renaming Ethereum Classic because that connection to, hey, we're not Ethereum, we're Ethereum Classic.
Yes.
In some respects damages the brand. What's your stance on that? What's your opinion? Should something like Ethereum Classic consider a name change?
I am not well enough informed on Ethereum Classic's case enough to give an opinion on that exactly. But in general, in terms of the importance of a name, I am one of those guys that doesn't think it's all that important. It's important somewhat in just kind of telling people what you're about, I guess. But I mean, Google's like the biggest company in the world. It doesn't mean anything. I think Coinbound
actually means
in a couple minutes.
What is it? It's one with 100 zeros. I think that's what Google.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, the point is that no one would know that. Maybe the founders had a reason behind it, but no one, unless you ask.
It's not common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so name doesn't have a lot of value. I don't know. I get what you're saying. Like some coins. Like I think Tron is a great. Yeah. It speaks to your audience. It's one syllable. Whereas like.
Yeah. I think product trumps name, but name is important, I suppose, but it's not. There's so many other things I would put above that.
Okay. So name not important. Now, before we, kind of wrap this up, right now a lot of people are always like interested in like up and coming coins, up and coming projects. Is there anything that you particularly like that's caught your attention that you think, you find that you hear a lot of action around, that a lot of influencers are talking about?
I am not probably the right person to talk to you about that stuff. I follow, because we don't work a lot with coins. We work a lot with actual brands and we work with like accounting groups and exchanges and stuff like that. We work with kind of like the more ancillary services. So I'm definitely not the right person to ask about that. My partner TJ would give you a full list of 100 coins that are gonna do well. I really like upfiring, and only because I'm friendly with the founder. It's definitely something to look into. So they're basically, are you familiar with BitTorrents? What they're going after? It's similar to that, but it's on Ethereum. And it's seed incentivized file sharing. So you could upload a file, and the whole tokenomics behind it is really interesting. Whereas the original file uploader gets 50% in perpetuity forever. So if you upload a file, let's say you're a content creator and you upload like I don't know, who use for anything really. You upload a file that has like your price predictions for a year, and people think that's a value. They're willing to pay for it. They pay for it. Now other people then go download it and then re-upload it. And because now multiple people are seeding the file, your file downloads are way faster. So, I mean, it's a working product. You can download like a 6 gigabyte file in like lightning speed. So I think that's an interesting one. But beyond that, I'm not the expert. I'm the marketing guy.
Wrong person to ask. Wrong person to ask. Okay, then I'll ask you a different parting question then.
Sure.
I think that, you know, when I was really deep in crypto marketing, Coinscribble for me was a necessity in my toolbox. You know, I love the fact that I could get a PR out, you know, spread to over 3 million different, you know, impressions, viewers. You know, you've done a great job in getting great partnerships there. I think also Coinbound is a necessity today because it's a marketplace where you can find an influencer, you can have a good, you know, back and forth, and you've set the KPIs. Apparently, I like that you're protecting both sides. You know, what other tools do you think are a necessity in a crypto marketer's toolbox?
So we're actually working on a pretty long, intense blog post for SEO purposes on basically the whole master guide sheet to how to market a crypto company. And a lot of the stuff, I think, I mean, a lot of the stuff that applies to crypto marketing does apply to other things. I would say things like having a good CRM is super important. That's for sales as well as marketing. And not a lot of people would expect this, but email marketing for us has been huge. The industry average email open rate is 18% for advertising and marketing firms. Ours is 45%.
Wow.
45% of people send emails to.
Is there a particular ESP you're using, or a third party that's, you know, has a list that you're able to access?
No, it's all people we've done business with. It's all people that have expressed interest. And I think that's why we're so successful, is that we have a very well-defined list.
And is this from your own email sending engine, or are you using like
We do it through HubSpot. HubSpot does our CRM as well as our email blasts. Beyond that, Ahrefs is great for SEO. That's an SEO tool. It's really useful.
You had some Ahrefs in your podcast that you sent.
I give the same advice many times.
Listened. I listened to the podcast.
Yeah, I push Ahrefs hard because I mean it's a super valuable tool. That's why we use it.
No, and that's why, you know, as much as possible, I want to give some value in that, like, hey, these are really the tools that you should be using, because these are shortcuts, right? Like, when I first, you know, now this has changed. I thought Bitcoin Talk was a necessity back in 2017.
I have mixed feelings on Bitcoin Talk because
today it's different.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would say, yeah, at one point, yes, it was absolutely a necessity. And every crypto company had a link in their footer of their website that showed their thread. Nowadays, there's still a lot of traffic on it, but I find it's not very valuable traffic that's on there.
No, it's still the bounty culture.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. But little known hack, actually, though. So in terms of SEO, there's do follow links and no follow links, which is, you know, sort of places the value on a site linking to you. Bitcoin Talk has do follow links. So you can post anything with a link to your website, and it will actually, not by a lot, but it will boost your search rankings.
So you need to have something on Bitcoin Talk, even though it's no longer as central to your strategy as it was in 2017.
Yeah, we don't really do any like lead prospecting on Bitcoin Talk, but we do, you know, we did in the beginning, we did, and it worked out. I met a lot of people, actually, a lot of our, one of our top Steam It authors that writes Steam It reviews, we connected on Bitcoin Talk. So there definitely is still a good community there. But in terms of marketing, I would say other things are probably more worthwhile of your time.
Yeah, I agree in that it's a good place to find service, like a gig economy, you know, finding other people that do work for crypto.
Yeah.
It's been great, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is nice.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to, you know, tag also Bitboy and Crypto is News and IvanOnTech. You know, great shout outs to them. I think it was a good discussion on Bomb Token as well.
Yeah, should get Zach on the show. Zach would be an interesting conversation.
For sure, put us in touch, man.
I will.
Help me out. Yes, I like to have as many people as possible, interesting people, and it sounds like Zach's like, you know, you spoke so highly of him. I would love to have him.
Yeah, have him on the show. You'll see why.
Awesome. Okay, dude. Well, it's a wrap.